The gravel on Licking View Drive doesn't just crunch under your tires. It screams. Out here, past the old Newark dog pound, the air gets cold enough to crack bone, smelling of wet fur and cheap whiskey. And tonight, the sky itself is falling. A silent, triangular UFO descends from the blackness, its unsettling hum vibrating through the trees toward the old, abandoned Liberty Cemetery. Drawn by some unseen force, you leave your car and venture into the woods. The air grows heavy and cold. Through the gnarled branches, an eerie glow flickers from a decrepit, haunted house. Legends say it's home to a creepy family of freaks who retreated from the world and became something else. But they aren't the only things lurking here. The woods whisper of vampires, werewolves, and the shuffling, moaning forms of zombies rising from their graves. As the UFO hovers over the cemetery, a beam of cold violet light hits the ground. But it's not pulling anything up. It's pushing something out. The earth heaves, and the ghouls of Forey Lane claw their way out. They aren't slow. They're fast, twitching, insect-like creatures, driven by the hum from the ship above. You scramble toward the only shelter, that sagging 3-story house. The door creaks open. Inside, a man 10 feet tall with skin like a plucked vulture stands waiting. He's the father, a vampiric freak who hasn't seen the sun since Newark was founded. Behind him, his children crouch on the ceiling like spiders, their jaws unhinging. Just as the ghouls reach the porch and the vulture man reaches for your throat, a bone-shattering howl rips through the trees. The Newark werewolf, a massive, soot-black beast with eyes like emergency flares, leaps from the shadows of the old dog pound. You're trapped between an alien harvest, a family of blood drinkers, and a prehistoric hunter. Then the porch light explodes. In the sudden darkness, the Newark werewolf slams into the vampire father with the force of a freight train. The sound is sickening. They tumble off the porch, a whirlwind of claws and needle teeth. You back away, but a cold, dead weight settles on your shoulder. It's the murdered girl from Liberty Cemetery, her eyes empty pits of graveyard soil. "Hide," she whispers, her voice like dry leaves on a tombstone, "before the harvest begins." She points to the cellar. You dive down a ramp of slick, cold mud as the door slams shut above you. But you're not alone. In the corner, a survivor in a tattered 1940s mechanic's jumpsuit clutches a flickering lantern. "You shouldn't have come to Forey Lane," he rasps. "I've been down here since the phantom killer chased me off the road in '46. Suddenly, the ceiling vibrates. A massive metallic tentacle, glowing with sickly violet energy, punches through the cellar door. The UFO isn't here to study us. It's a vacuum, pulling the spirits from the ghouls outside. The only way out is through the Gowrow's tunnel. The mechanic yells, pointing to a jagged hole where a massive, tusked, reptilian beast is waking up. But before it can charge, the cellar walls begin to bleed thick, black bile. 3 figures descend from the shadows, draped in shawls of crow feathers and human hair, the witch sisters of the White River bottoms. "The harvest is ours, Nettle King." The eldest screeches. She flings a handful of graveyard dust at the alien tentacle, and it erupts into a swarm of spectral hornets, short-circuiting the tech. The UFO groans, a mechanical death rattle shaking Newark to its foundations. "Run," the mechanic yells. "They're going to bring the whole sky down." You scramble into the Gowrow's tunnel, just as the UFO loses its hover and slams into the Liberty Baptist Church. The explosion is a wave of pure, ghostly energy that turns the trees to glass. You emerge near the cemetery gates. The witch sisters are right behind you, and their personal guard of reanimated outlaws, witch zombies, with silver-stitched eyes and executioner's axes, are mounting the hill. The silver axe from a fallen zombie feels heavy in your hands. You don't run. You plant your boots in the Newark dirt and swing, turning the first attacker into a cloud of graveyard moths. The witch sisters shriek, and the very graves of Liberty Cemetery begin to invert, releasing ancient, moss-covered ghouls. Then, the impossible happens. The werewolf and the vampire father stop fighting each other. They share a look of grim understanding. The vampire father grabs you, heaves you onto the werewolf's back, and rasps, "Ride, mortal." The witches have opened the door to the void. Only the White River monster can seal it now. The werewolf bolts, barreling through the woods. You reach the river just as the water begins to boil, and a massive prehistoric head rakes the surface. It's the White River monster, a biological machine left here eons ago to keep the void closed. The axe! The werewolf growls. Throw the silver axe into the monster's maw. It's the final key, the lead which dives for your heart. The UFO vortex is screaming, pulling the town into a black hole. With a roar, you heave the silver axe. It spins through the air and vanishes down the beast's throat. Whitey's scales ignite with a blinding sapphire brilliance. A pillar of pure energy erupts from the river, slamming into the vortex and causing it to implode. The witch sisters are sucked into their own black hole, scattered into atoms. The shockwave throws you into the mud. When you open your eyes, there's only silence. The UFO is gone. The vampire and werewolf have vanished. As the sun rises, you find your car, covered in a fine layer of silver dust. In the rearview mirror, the Gurdon light bobs in the backseat. A tiny, glowing wink of thanks before it disappears. You drive away from Forey Lane, knowing that under the Arkansas soil, the monsters are just hitting the snooze button. Thanks for taking that wild ride with me. Newark has the perfect atmosphere for these kinds of stories, where local legends and monster movies get completely blurred. So if you ever find yourself driving down Licking View Drive on a foggy night, just remember, if you see a floating light, don't follow it. If you hear a howl from the old dog pound, keep driving. And if a 10-foot-tall man with vulture skin asks for a ride, tell him you're already booked. Thanks for watching.